is now called to order at 5 p.m. Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Open Public Meetings announcement. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with these provisions of this act, the Passaic County Manchester Regional High School Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published in the North Jersey Herald News, the board's official newspaper, on January 14th of 2021. Notice of this regular meeting indicating date, time, and place were posted for public viewing and posted on all social media platforms within the MRHS community and within the clerks of the municipalities of Haledon, North Haledon, and Prospect Park. Now be resolved that this virtual/in-person Board of Education meeting be recorded. I'll take a roll call, please.
Mrs. Arick.
Present.
Ms. Baez.
Here.
Mr. Barker.
Here.
Mr. DeMarco. Mr. Fisher.
Here.
Mrs. Fusco. Mr. Gonzalez.
Here.
Mr. Magora. Here. And Mr. Penza.
Here. At this time, the board will go into executive session with our board attorney, Mr. Rod Harrah. Yep.
I'm gonna close the door.
Need a motion in a
Got it.
second.
I'll take a motion.
We
You want to do exec?
need to read it for a student matter, correct?
For a student matter. Will action be taken? Action?
Yes,
Action will be taken at the regular portion of the board.
Yes. Okay, so action will be taken at the regular
Mr.
portion
Fisher moved.
of the board.
I have a second.
Second.
Mr. Barker.
All in favor?
Uh,
Anybody opposed? None. Okay.
Can I have a motion to reopen at 5:57, please?
Second.
Mr. Moore,
Pat, can you put up the side panel?
and second by Mr. Gonzalez. Roll call. Ms. Arick.
Yes.
Ms. Baez.
All in favor?
Mr. Barker. Yes. Mr. Fisher. Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Magora. Yes. And Mr. Benzer.
Yes. Okay. Will someone like to move correspondence? Moved by Mr. Magora, second. Ms. Baez?
It's just a quick comment, and I'll do something more formal at the end of the year. But Willie was kind enough to give us advance notice, but not the type of notice I wanted to receive. But after 30 years of dedicated service to the students, the staff, the Board of Education, and our community, Willie's retiring, and he's going to be missed. His kindness, his hard work, his dedication, and just the way he took care of kids is something special, and he's going to be hard to replace. So we obviously have time, and we thank him for giving us that notice, but that is a big loss for a good man.
This was my first year actually. I've actually met Willie, and meeting him was like as if I'd known him for years. Like he was like,
So kind.
besides being happy and friendly and just really, he boasts pride of Manchester. It really does. So I will miss Willie and his energy that he brings to the school and to the cafeteria, and he'll be missed. It was a long time, a very long time. I think he was one of the longest people in the, if not in the school.
He's one of the longest.
So
and
Willie,
he probably knows every kid, and every kid knows him.
yeah, thank you.
Make sure everyone's fed.
Lunch guy is always the most important guy in school anyway. I don't know if I say the superintendent, to me it was the lunch guy.
Listen, if you're hungry, you can't learn, right? So, all right.
So, and then also thank you for the wonderful letter from Kathleen in class of 1970.
That was the tour, yeah.
That was the tour.
I'll tell you, the video and the
the stuff that you had in, was it the South of Fire or whatever?
Great, right?
I don't know if everybody realized that video that was kind of embedded in
You
there.
gotta look at it.
That was excellent, that they did, I'm assuming they put that part
Yeah.
together. But, they were very appreciative, because she spoke to me, they were very
Great.
appreciative, Gary, of you, and was it Colleen?
It was Miss Brogan.
Right.
Yeah, Miss Brogan and I.
They were
That was
very
great.
appreciative.
And then you'll see the next Falcon flyer in 4 languages. I'll be sharing that with you tomorrow. They're doing great work there.
I think you should just send it to us each in a different language, and then we're forced to go learn it.
Exactly.
I'd love to do.
Any other questions or comments on correspondence? Take a roll call.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Byers.
Yes.
Mrs. Eric.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Mr. Magora.
Yes.
And Mr. Panzera.
Yes. Prior minutes, someone like to move it? Ms. Baez, second?
Second.
Mr. Magora? Any questions? I'll take a roll call.
Mrs. Eric.
Abstained on October the 21st, I was not here, and the 26th, yes.
About the 21st, you abstained?
Yeah, I wasn't here for that. meeting.
Okay,
And the 26th, yes.
okay, and there was.
I was here for that.
Okay, gotcha. Mr. Magora?
Mr. McGuire?
Yes. Mr. Gonzalez? Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Baez?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
And Mr. Panzera?
Yes. Okay, at this time, I'll take a motion to open the floor to the citizens on agenda items only. There's nobody from the public here. Can I have a motion tonight?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Hilton, second. Ms. Baez. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Okay, Pat, is there anybody in the room that'd like to speak? Besides us?
Not received anything at this time.
Okay, take a motion to close the floor. Moved by Hilton, second. Ms. Baez. All in favor? Thank you. Committee reports. I will start off by saying the field looks incredible. The amount of work and the amount of time is really impressed. I really can't wait to see it finished. Every time I drive past, I'm excited, you know? Second, just like to let everybody know that the Roundtable Theater Company had their play this past weekend. They did have a nice little turnout, but what really surprised me was the amount of compliments I got on our school from random people, you know? They were really impressed on how it looked in there. They didn't get to see everything, but they really, you know, just that little area, and they couldn't believe how clean our bathrooms were. You know, they've been in schools that the bathrooms are really gross and nasty, and people are like, I could literally eat off the floors in your bathrooms. Your janitors or your custodians do a phenomenal job here, and whatever you guys are doing as a board, keep it up. Literally, that's what they said. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. And the play did go really well, and it was a great show. They look forward to doing more shows here as well.
Next time, go back, I was in Puerto Rico.
And I do have, they
When's
did
gonna
film
hit
it.
the theaters?
What?
When's it gonna hit the theater?
Theaters?
Is it gonna go in?
Yeah, I wish. They did have a videotape.
Yeah, exactly.
They videoed it, so when I get the link,
Please.
I will share it with everybody. Cool. That's it for me.
All right.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone, for adjusting your schedules to come at an earlier time today, but I think it's important, being that it's Veterans Day, that we take time to honor all those who have served our country. It is really important to also take a moment to remember those who gave and made the ultimate sacrifice to protect our freedoms. And let's not forget those who are affected by their service and are living with those results, that we must never forget them and always help them. Thank you to all the members of our staff who served and those in our families, both our staff and the board here. We are forever in your debt. So thank you all that have served. In terms of the announcements, I have a few interesting things to share with you. First one being that school board's PD, that has been extended a month. So if you haven't had an opportunity and you want to, any of that PD from school boards is available till the end of December. Number two, you'll see that we'll be approving the contract of a new business administrator, Lamika Augustine. We are very excited to do so. She unfortunately cannot attend this meeting or the December meeting because her meetings are on Thursday and she has to uphold her last 60 days. We're excited to have her on. She's a self-made professional, has worked her way through the entirety of the business office. She started her career here working for the Halden Board of Education in accounts payable. She then moved on to Hawthorne as a school accountant, Branchburg and Fort Lee as assistant business administrator, and the last 5 years as the East Rutherford business administrator. She's experienced in building projects, referendums, human resources, grant writing, you name it, she's been involved with it. So we're very excited that in a couple months from now, we'll be welcoming Ms. Augustine. Also, it's premature, and I'll do this again in about 60 days, but a huge thank you to Mr. DeAndrea for his tremendous support, his insight. The veteran leadership and guidance for myself has been really helpful, and I appreciate everything with this huge field project, really, being on top of it and helping. So thank you.
Pleasure.
Another thing, as long as we're talking about the field project, the geese chasers, I talked to the gentleman, and I know it does bring a giggle, but there's nothing worse than walking on that, on our pathways and having to step over things. So they have seen progress. We get them twice a day for 15 weeks. We're about 5 weeks in. I asked about this time of year, and they said, no, this is a huge time of year, a very important time of year, because if they get used to coming here now in the winter, they come back and they nest and lay eggs in the spring. So chasing them and getting them scared now is important. He also provided me with a phone number that if at any time, and this has already been communicated to our athletic director, and he's going to share it with anyone doing activities, that if you see them, you call this, and then they'll be there within 2 hours, because they have these chasers that just go field to field in the area. So it's, as crazy as it sounds, you got to get them in the act. You have to get them when they're here to really make an impact and scare the, the pants off them. So that'll be something else that we can do. And they're going to keep this up for the 15 weeks. They're not going to lay off it like they do in some spots, because they know with the easy access to water around here, they really have to make an impact on it, because otherwise come spring, they'll just make their way back. So just wanted to share that with everyone, because that was an investment by the board and an important one as we move forward with improving our facilities and our campus. We want to make sure we don't have to step around those wonderful nuggets left. And last but not least, some very positive news. Again, speaking of schedules, everyone was nice enough a couple of weeks back, maybe it's a month now, to adjust our schedules, thinking we were going to have a quick emergency board meeting to approve some producers to come in and use the facilities, and then they canceled last second. Well, after kind of turning the screws on them and telling them, we need, your support after you mobilized, my entire office over there, we have the $2,000 check. It is in the mail. We received notice of it, and it'll be on the next board agenda. So that was a nice, sidebar. Not as nice as the one we thought we were going to get for the use of facilities, but still a nice thing.
What they're gonna do?
They were going to film a commercial in the gym, and they ended up picking another site. But since we mobilized so quickly, they came through with a donation. So that was a nice thing.
I think we talked about this, but should we let them know that if they decide they ever want to use this again, we'll credit that to?
I did speak to them. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, let's hope they come back.
Might get them to come back.
Yeah, I think it's a good partnership to have. And the groundbreaking was a huge and wonderful event to get everybody out there. We had great weather. We've spoken about this, I think, individually, but just so everyone knows, the construction project has really come a long way. Dakota's done a fantastic job. We met with them today, and they feel they're about 2 weeks ahead of schedule, and that's based on the weather. If they'd gotten rain, if they'd gotten bad weather, it would have really set them back. But they were able to get the dirt out of here very quickly. They put down the first level of gravel. The finishing gravel is going down tomorrow. And then from that point, they have some odds and ends to do next week, but then we may not see them for a couple weeks that often as they await the turf and the lights being delivered. We cannot, the turf we expect about 21 to 30 days at the most production and getting it here. But the lights, that's up in the air. We do have PSE&G. They already provided us with what we needed here. The infrastructure is here, so it's just getting the lights here. But, you know, it's still looking for early spring as the time that everything will be done. But the good thing is they got all this done without interruption. And this is the most important part of it. You have to have good drainage. You have to have a good support. So we're in a good place. And
Is there a warranty on the lithium too?
yeah, absolutely. And there's some other things we're going to be bringing forward to people, to the board regarding potential security features that.
Security, maintenance
And maintenance.
features. They have a nice, unique system where you can monitor the use of the field and know exactly where you can do your maintenance to make sure that you enhance the life of the field.
And then if people are on it after hours. So we're exploring that, and we'll bring that to the board if it's a, you know, a reasonable and smart thing for us to do. We'll, you know, we'll bring it either way. If you guys can decide if it's, you know, worth our while. All right. So, good stuff. No, that's it.
I'm gonna go back because I did forget, and I'm so sorry. I have a tendency of doing this, is having our student liaison give their report. So Pat, if you want to let Sipsy have the floor. Sipsy, are you there?
He's muted right now.
Sorry. Hello?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Okay. So, good evening, all. Student Council is currently planning the Snowball, a winter semi-formal for Manchester students. It will be taking place on Friday, December 17th from 7 to 10 p.m. in the cafeteria. There will be music, food, and lots of dancing. The Snowball will be the culmination of our Winter Spirit Week, which will be full of fun spirit days, our homeroom door decorating competition, and our winter pep rally. We're also looking to collaborate with the Interact Club on a day of service in January, and there will be more details to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Sipsy. Okay. Mr. DeAndrea, you have
The
anything?
only item I have is you're coming upon your reorganization meeting. And it's a time if you have any concerns or you wish to make any changes in your professional staff, I ask that you send independent emails to your board president, and that way the board president can convey to Mr. Levisco and myself those concerns, and then we can move forward at that point if there is a requirement for RFPs.
Okay, everybody, go with that?
And I also want to say, I've done 3 or 4 different athletic fields over my career, and Dakota is an exceptional contractor to know that he's dedicated his people here and has knocked off this project in the timely fashion that he has. So I can tell you have a good contractor, folks.
Mr. McGora, would you like to, personnel?
Personnel, the big item on personnel is that we have a substitute nurse, and she's a graduate from Manchester and was in Alton. That's always been a problem, and I think it's a problem with more than our school, though. Every school
Absolutely.
in the county and state. So they moved that, we vote on that 9-1 through 9-8.
Thank you. Education, Ms. Eric?
Yes, education met today at 4:15 with trustee Fisher, Baez, and myself, and also the superintendent. We discussed agenda items and talked about other items, including that we do have a substitute and other things.
I was very excited.
Yeah.
We'll talk to everyone about it.
And the meeting concluded at 4:00.
Thank you. Finance, Mr. Barker?
Okay, the Finance Committee met virtually Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Basically, we discussed agenda items. We also discussed the field and the progress of the field. We discussed the inner track, the field, the track and field area of the high jump, the pole vault area and the triple jump, long jump.
Long
Oh, long intro.
Yep. And some work that should happen there. We also discussed fencing and some security issues, but we decided to hold off on that for now. It was a good meeting, about 45 minutes. We started at 4 o'clock, and we wrapped it up around 4:45.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I just said, so the board understands?
Sure.
You have items on. One of them is the actual track to power wash and restripe that. So that gives it a nice look also as you're laying down your new turf field. So you'll have the turf and inner circles all new, and then your track will be power washed and striped for your athletes.
On that subject, I'm looking for the resolution. I know there was 100 and some thousand for the track portion. And another 20-something thousand for the other. Where do we fit budget-wise?
So it is right at that initial allocation,
The
maybe a touch.
1.85?
Yes, touch under. Just a touch under the 1.8.
That's the direct purchase of the turf.
Yep.
The labor, and lights and labor and everything from
Yep.
Dakota, and these two items.
And there's still a contingency there.
And there's
Yes.
good
Yeah, I
point.
saw the contingency.
Yeah, we don't want to eat that early.
And I hope the board, that's a process that I've used, a good portion. The contingency is money that's built into the contract that I believe the board shouldn't have knowledge of it. Most of it is stuff that's done after the fact, but I still think it's important that the board acknowledges what work has been used out of that contract amount.
Yep, that's good.
And I just want to say there's great buzz in the communities about what's going on over there. I mean, everybody just stops and looks, so it's real exciting.
And our kids are putting together a lot of drone pictures using the drone program to take the, periodic pictures. I think they're going to have some cool stuff to share with the community of the progress that's
Yeah,
out
that'd be great. That'd be good.
kid driven.
Thanks also. Okay, state and county, Ms. Eric.
No meeting until December.
Mr. Fisher?
Yeah, there is just if you want to put it on your calendar, I may have mentioned it. We're going to say, Bridget, December 13th.
13.
And that's the meeting with the State County Education Association, which is a very interesting meeting. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is the topic. Those of you who did attend the virtual workshop, hopefully you enjoyed it. I know we're all supposed to put together a written report, so I will summarize my 6 pages of notes into a couple of lines and send it to you. And also contact with a lot of vendors over the course. And as Gary mentioned, it's been extended another 30 days. But to me, the highlight was our local resident. I don't know how many people got to see Ms. Lorenzo's speech, but boy, is she a ball of energy.
Oh my God.
What an
On fire.
uplifting
Yeah.
message. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. It was incredible. And I'd like to, if we haven't already, I'd like that the school contact her and invite her to come in and kind of, we are her local high school. She's a resident of North Haven, and she was one of the keynote speakers, and she was dynamite. I would just to invite her in to just kind of.
Sure.
She's been active with NJSBA on a bunch of training topics for years.
Okay, anything else? Any questions? No? Okay. Would someone like to move appointments? Mr. Barca, second.
Second.
Mr. Fisher? Roll call, please.
Ms. Baez,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
I'm stating 8.1 and 8.2.
13 and on both.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Mr. Magora? Yes. Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Sarek?
Yes.
Mr. Barca?
Yes.
And Mr. Panzera?
Yes, and I would like to congratulate Ms. Augustin on her appointment to our office. Welcome. Tomorrow I'll meet her and formally congratulate her. Personnel, Mr. Magora, would you like to move it?
Move 9.1 through 9.8.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Barca, any questions on personnel? Seeing none, I'll take a roll call.
Mr. McGuire,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mrs. Zarek,
Yes.
Ms. Baez,
Yes.
and Mr. Panzera.
Yes.
Just a quick question. If I change my vote to no on Willie's retirement, can we keep him here?
You trying to leverage him? Yes, we reject it.
Good try.
I did try already with that.
Okay, education, Ms. Eric, would you like to move it?
Yes, I'd like to move 10.1 through 10.8.
Any questions? Oh, I'm sorry, second? Mr. Barca? Any questions? Okay, take a roll call, please.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. McGuire,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Ms. Baez,
Yes.
Mrs. Zarek,
Yes.
and Mr. Panzera.
Yes. Finance, Mr. Barco, would you like to move it?
I'd like to move 11.1 through 11.9.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gonzalez? Any questions? Roll call?
Ms. Zarek,
Abstaining on 11.1, specifically PO 200345, 201035, and also abstaining on 11.6.
yes to all of this. Thank you.
Yes, for all of us.
Mr. McGuire,
Yes.
Ms. Baez,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes on all except for 11.2, that I'll abstain.
thank you. Mr. Panzera.
Yes on everything and abstain from 11.2. Okay. Older new business?
I just got a comment, I guess. I just want to say thank you to the board and the administration as far as on behalf of Junior Falcons. Open up your building, and it's been great. The kids are, in this case, the kids came into this room, we did a lot of film work the past 2 weeks, because this Saturday we're going to play for the conference championship. Yeah, so they were in awe, which was great, they were in awe, so we'll be back tomorrow, do one more session before Saturday, so.
And the meal, right?
Sorry?
And the meal,
Yeah,
right?
that's the senior,
That's great.
actually, we have 2 squads going into the championship on Saturday, our junior squad and our senior squad, which is juniors are 5th and 6th graders, our seniors are 7th and 8th. The 7th and 8th graders will be having a little meal together. For the most part, a lot of them, but last times they'll be playing together, so.
We wish you luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Love having the kids in the building. So.
Yeah, they loved it.
You playing on a neutral site or?
We're playing, well, actually, no, it is a neutral, it's supposed to be a neutral site, but we're playing in New Milford against New Milford, so. But it was determined prior to the season starting, so. it just happened to be-
Once we have our field and lights.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the past couple of years, we had to give up sponsoring because of the field.
Right.
So maybe in the future, we could host something.
That would be great.
Very excited. Mr. Panzera, since you're on new business, do you want to do the one item, the HIB?
Yes.
Since you're on, is there a motion for the HIB hearing? That the Board of Education affirms the recommendation of the superintendent of HIB case 92921.
So moved.
Mr. Fisher, second. Mr. McGuire, I'll take a roll call.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Ms. Baez,
Yes.
Mrs. Zarek,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. McGuire,
Yes.
and Mr. Panzera.
Yes. We're gonna read the resolution and read it? Did we read it or no?
I just
Oh,
read
that
it.
was it, okay.
Yep, that's
I
right.
know, it was a little long, but that was longer.
Yeah, short one.
Quick and short.
That was a real quick resolution. Okay. 12.1, do we want to discuss this in exec? Can we discuss this in executive session?
Oh, no, that we can.
I don't believe it's an executive
Yeah, I
session.
think we discussed it last time, but I don't know if that was in.
Just whether we want to move it.
It was in exec? Okay. I
I don't think it was an executive session.
No,
No, it was public, right?
No, we were in public.
it's a public item.
It's in the notes.
I would move it, but change, but remove the word that there was not good cause to say that there was good cause. And if you want to get the ball rolling as far as discussion, and then I'd like to discuss it.
Yeah, when I, I'm gonna bring this up. When
It never got moved. Okay, I'm just wondering if we need to have something on the floor to discuss it, or I could just discuss it.
Well, her term ends, right?
I think if you're gonna do it, since there is a resolution drafted, why don't you move and second it, so that way it's a formal, then at the end, it's the board's decision if you wanna,
but it's
Yeah.
you
discussed.
should
It is
vote
discussed.
one way or another, since you're gonna open discussion.
No, because I remember when I was brought up the same issue, I was removed. I was taken out of the room, and then we discussed it. So I didn't know if it was that was executive session, I believe. So I didn't know if we should be discussing this in public or we should discuss this in private.
Like I was never even, well, at the end of the day, I wasn't at the last meeting, right? So and the notes are very vague, in terms of, so, I would need to be good at the speed of what we're talking about. Before I even go in.
Of course. No. Okay. So let's. Do we want to go into executive
I don't want-
discuss?
You spoke about it last time in public.
Right.
I'm just asking because I
I mean,
don't believe-
I'll talk about it, and then you want to move it, or you want to move
Let's
it and then
move it.
talk about it.
You should
after we-
move it since you,
Okay, I just don't want it moved the way it is, because I'm gonna vote not to remove. Okay.
So then
for
I
the
think it's
reasons that I
important-
expressed.
if you're gonna vote on the resolution, why don't you open up the floor, motion second, then you can have your discussion, have anything that you want modified as part of your discussion, and then decide at the end what you wish
I
to
think that's
do.
that.
Yeah. So is there a motion?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
Do I have a second? Second, Mr. Parker.
That way, if there's any revisions, we can make the revisions and vote on the final document one way or another.
May I?
Yes.
Okay. As I stated last month, and you just brought it up now, and you did, rightfully bring it up last time. The most important thing is that I think we have one meeting left in the year.
Yeah, too.
Okay.
Like, well, if you count the thing, yeah.
You have the strategic plan, but you have one board meeting, okay? Spoke with Cindy today. Cindy actually intended to be here until the meeting was changed to 5 o'clock, okay? And because of work, she was unable to make it. But I mean, at this point, to go through the motion of removing her, when we're not going to appoint, we have to advertise, we're not going to appoint somebody to take her place, and they would come in, and basically, if you had that at the beginning of that next meeting, and vote for one meeting, and they would be gone. I mean, just logistically and logically, that doesn't make sense. But this is a board member who has not only served this board, but has served prior on the Halden board, president of the Halden board, and let's not forget that we all have responsibilities, family responsibilities, work responsibilities, and that's what's kept Cindy away the past few meetings. But you also have to look at the fact that Gary will back this up to a degree because, and who else, Ralph? Cindy, when we went through the search for a superintendent, Cindy was the co-chair of that committee because Ellen didn't want to be involved because it was George and Cindy, because Ellen being on both boards at the time. And Cindy was at weekly meetings, week after week. I'm talking for hours. When we would do those interviews, especially first round, Ralph, we had three nights in a row, I think it was. The first round, we would do 2 or 3 candidates, and a day or two later do 2 or 3, and a day or two later do 2 or 3. And Cindy was there through all of them. So she probably attended more board meetings or more meetings on behalf of the board than pretty much everybody here except for me and Ralph, because we were on that same committee. So I just think that at this point, it's kind of silly to think that even though the law allows her removal, just as it also allows us to not remove her, just as we didn't remove Mr. Panzera when he missed his 3 meetings, twice. He missed his 3 meetings. And we didn't remove him. So I would just say that logically, it doesn't make any sense.
I think we should
There's nothing to be
table this.
gained.
Just
There's nothing to
table
be
this.
gained by removing her.
No, I agree both of you gentlemen, I mean, at the end of the day, what's the point at this time? I do think that, her service is her service. I really don't know what happened, in terms of that. I don't know whether she was reached out to
Yeah.
or whatever the situation is. But, at this point, with one meeting, to, a position that she was elected to or whatever, at this point to have on the record that she was removed, I feel kind of funny, like, you know, like have on the record, like the end of her service, meaning at the end of her service that she was removed, just in one meeting left. I do, if it was at the beginning, meaning like, you know, or whatever, we could go into it. We have new people. She obviously did not run. She's not going to be back on.
Right.
I say, you know.
Well, I made a motion to table it.
To table it?
No, we can't table it. I think we just need to
could,
vote
I
on
mean,
whether
there's
we
no-
Motion's already,
We have the authority to.
no, it's just a vote, yes or no, at the end, once we go to the
Anybody
vote.
else?
Or
Anybody
I
else
would
want to say?
prefer that we modify it, just as I said, just remove the word that. And
Well,
and
if
again,
the board again, if the board's in agreement, you can, the motion is on the resolution. The motion can read no, and then the resolution doesn't pass.
okay, so you're saying leave it, but then,
It's in a record.
here's where I
isn't
have a problem
it? It's in a record.
with doing it that way. That means two people have to move in second, and I know legally, because you move in second, you don't have to vote in
Then you
favor,
can't vote no.
okay? It just kind of makes, somebody's
what do you
making a
recommend,
motion
What
to
do you
remove
recommend?
her.
What do you recommend?
And then we just remove the word not, and just say that there was good cause, okay, for her absences.
Okay.
Instead of there was not good cause for her absence. You see that in the first
got
be
it.
it
And we could
resolved?
vote on that.
And then
Well,
we just
you really-
approve that there was good cause for her absence.
Yeah.
Between work, family situations,
Sure.
and others, she's just not been able to make a couple of meetings. And then we put a restriction on her that she couldn't come virtually. That was the other part of it. Remember a month ago, we put that on?
No,
Or
she
2
could come
months ago?
But you can come virtual for.
No, she could have came virtually 4 times.
She what?
She could have came virtually 4 times.
The
In
first
all
3, but
honesty.
not the last one.
No, in all honesty, she could have came virtually 4 times.
Motion
But
is.
still, I think you guys
Well,
are
well,
all
well, I
right.
think that
so-
we're,
Yeah.
I think that, I
She
don't wanna
might-
go left, I don't wanna go left, Jeff, you know, I mean, sorry,
Whoever
Ralph, you know how we can go
motioned
left.
second.
Let's just
No,
go
listen, I mean,
with-
at the end of the day, I was in a position as well.
If I could, Mr. Penzel?
Yeah.
Just, because it is true, someone who motions in seconds should not vote no. You
Right.
really,
So
in
that's
that,
why I'm
to Robert's
suggesting we
rule.
change
So
the-
as an option, if the person who moved in second are agreeable, the motion can be amended to withdraw it as a first and second as a withdrawal. If the two individuals who made the motion to open it up.
I think it was.
I'm sorry.
Who made the
get it.
motion?
If the persons are agreeable who motioned and seconded,
Right.
can now amend it to withdraw it, and then you're agreeing on the withdrawal of the resolution.
As opposed to defeating the resolution.
Yes.
I don't care what manner you do it in, on the minute.
And I'll have it, and that way it's withdrawn, it doesn't even appear in your minutes.
I'd like to make a motion for that.
I just
Well,
want
you
to,
have
I just
to-
want
I
to
think,
make a comment.
Mr. Fisher made the
I think
motion.
it should,
It has to be the two that made the.
Hold on. I don't think that it should be removed because it happened, right? Do I think that she should be removed from the board? No, but it does need to be stated that the person had missed, a certain amount of meetings, whether it was, we're following,
All right, so then if that's the
statute?
case,
Do you
be
remember?
it resolved that
I don't-
Cynthia Fusco shall
maybe.
not be removed as a member of the Passaic County Manchester Regional High School District Board of Education effective November 12th, 2021.
That allows you
So-
to vote.
So that allows everyone to vote, because it now reads, be it resolved, the board has determined that there was good cause for the trustees' absences. Be it further resolved that Cynthia Fusco shall not be removed as a member of the Passaic County. Does that work for everyone?
Yeah,
And
everyone
the
can vote.
person who moved in second can now continue that way.
that's fine.
All right? Good.
I don't
We're in favor of
remember,
it?
Tom, I don't remember what happened with you.
Yes.
I mean, I don't remember.
It's stated in the minutes.
We allowed it.
That's perfect.
No, but I don't remember if we
Good thinking.
came out with a resolution or we just didn't do anything.
We just didn't do
I
anything.
don't,
I think
I
we
don't,
should-
I remember, all I remember was coming to that meeting and being asked to leave the room,
Yeah,
and
Right.
you guys,
We let you
discussed.
speak, and then you were asked to leave the room, and I think that was in exec.
that's why I thought, that's why I was wondering, do we have to go into
And
exec
then
for
there was
this? or-
discussion in exec, and then it was decided to not remove you, but I don't remember if there was a resolution coming out of that.
I don't think we did anything.
I think we just did nothing, because I don't think, you know why? It wasn't on the agenda, but before you go, Lillian wants to speak.
But you also had a change in
The
your
only thing I
policy.
need to say is, I've never met this board member, and that's all I have to say.
In person,
Yeah, that's something to be said.
on the screen.
Well, because of COVID, she was virtual through the beginning, but since COVID, she was attending being virtual. She was here very seldom because of her.
I understand, I understand, you know, that she's served in many boards. I've never met her.
It was very nice.
Okay.
So the board is approving as amended?
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
I guess we'll figure it
Mr.
out.
Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Byers?
No.
Mr. McGoran?
Yes.
Mrs. Zarek?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
No.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
And Mr. Panzer?
Both stay.
Motion passes as amended.
Okay. Anything else for all the new business? Okay. At this time, I'll take a motion to open the floor to the public. Hey, motion. Mr. Gonzalez, second by Ms. Baez. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Mr. Hornby, do you have anything to say to us?
Sure, as a co-advisor of the National Honor Society, if as many of you can make it to the National Honor Society induction, it's a really big moment for these kids who have been chosen to be part of it. So hope to see you all there.
What is it then?
It's Monday, November 22nd at 7 p.m.
How many people?
Oh geez, top of my head. Give me a spot. I want to say 6 or 7.
You said 7.
7 o'clock, yeah.
Was that the
right?
was that the same group that was recognized at the bonfire? Were
Yes,
they the new inductees?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Same one.
Yeah, it was about 6 or 7.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
Just one thing, Mayor George had a heart attack, so you might want to send him a card.
Absolutely. I already sent him an email, and yes, we were going to send him a formal correspondence, but I'll make a note to get that out tomorrow.
Yeah, we stressed him out paving our street
George.
on my block. We stressed him out too much.
Good job,
And
good
that
job.
was supposedly the reason why he had a heart attack. Okay, at this time, there's nobody in the public besides us, so, I'll take a motion to close the public session. Public portion. Moved by Mr. Gonzalez, second. Mr. Barca, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion to adjourn? Mr. Gonzalez, second.
I'll second.
Ms. Baez, all in favor?
Aye.
And I'm sure nobody's opposed. Good night, everybody. Thank you for showing up.
Good night.